Okay. Now, the quarterly conference system, this is actually the presentation that was given in April by the General Secretary Auditor's Office. Angela Joseph is the contact for this particular system. So let us move right along. By the time we finish with this workshop, you should be able to sign into the new quarterly conference system, input the administrative data for the church, gain access and complete all quarterly conference reports, assign users for specific reports, print the reports, and submit support tickets. The General Secretary Auditor's Office sent out the username and the temporary password to all pastors and quarterly conference secretaries that they had on record. It went out somewhere around April 15th. I'm not exactly sure of the exact date, but it was somewhere around April 15th. It went out. So if you can look back in your emails back to April, if you have it, check to see if you have anything that was sent from help@amezionGSA.com.
April 17th.
It went out April 17th?
Yes.
Okay, April 17th. And that email should have your username, which is your personal email address, and the most important thing, your temporary password. If you do not have that, later on in this presentation, you will get information about how to go about acquiring that information. Because for the pastors and quarterly conference secretaries, that has to be assigned by Dr. Sadler's office. It's important that, since this is the first time that we're doing this, it's important that we begin with the first quarter. And the first quarter is not the first quarter of 2021. The dates, all dates for this reporting year, all years for this reporting year will be designated as 2022, because they want to know at the end of the year that this is the reporting for the conference year ending in 2022. So keep that date, keep that year in mind. So this system can be accessed through your laptop, tablet, even your cell phone. Any device that has internet access, you can be able to fill these forms out. At Varick, we've done ours, and we've had people that have done it on their phones, on their tablets, on their computers, or their laptops. So in order to get into the system, you're going to be entering amezionGSA.com in your browser. And their suggestion is to use Chrome, by the way. They say the system operates better in Chrome. However, it does work in other browsers. Once you get to the screen, enter that, you'll see this particular screen that's being shown now. This is the landing screen for Dr. Sadler's office. The important one is Reporting Portal. When you click on Reporting Portal, it'll bring you to the quarterly conference, the first page for the quarterly conference system. The only tab that you need to be concerned about is the one in the center, New Quarterly Conference Reporting System version 2. Now, once you click on that, it'll bring it into your sign-on screen. Now, this is where you have to have your username and your password, which is case sensitive. So once you enter all of that, you hit login, and it'll bring you to this default user screen. Now, what will show here would be the pastor and the quarterly conference secretary as user. Those are the only two that have been entered so far. And they start with the pastor and the quarterly conference secretary, because it's up to one or the other or both to actually set up the church, all the church forms. So once you get to this screen, nothing you have to do here as of yet. You're going to go into the tab on the side under amyzion.org. Once you click on that, it'll drop down and you'll see churches. You click on churches and you'll get to this particular screen. Now, once you get to this screen, you will see your church's information here. You'll see your church's name, and there'll be an edit button here. Once you just click on the edit button and it'll open up the organization management section. Now, this is where you'll have to start doing the work. They just entered the church's name. Everything else has to be updated by you.
I'm sorry. I'm a little slow.
Sure.
The edit button was where?
The edit button is down the bottom of the first page. It's right next to, it says search results. You'll see your church name. It'll have the presiding elder district. And over to the right, you'll see a button that says edit. Click the edit button.
Okay.
Once you click the edit button, you're actually in the organization management. And this is where you have to complete this. You have to complete it with the church. The church name is already there. So you have to fill in the address, what's the city, the state. And you have to fill in the time periods for the quarters.
I'm sorry, can you go back to the start again? I'm doing it on my phone, but I don't see that, so I just need to try.
Oh, no, if you're doing it on your phone, it's going to be a little bit different.
Yes, definitely. I was just trying to follow along with you. So let
Okay,
me not look at my phone. Go ahead.
Now, where do you want me to start it?
Just,
Are you-
I'm inside, but I wanted to see that left-hand column where you said users. Like
Yeah.
I see the users on here, but I don't see where it says church. It is different on the phone.
Above users, it's that you have amyzion.org above that. In your
No,
menus?
not on the phone. So I'm not going to look at my phone. I'm going to go ahead and follow what you're doing so I see it from the laptop.
Okay, tell you what. Is anybody else on the phone? Follow.
I am.
Okay, let me open up my phone because it's slightly different
Yeah.
when you do it from a phone. So let me open it up on my phone. Whenever you open up a website on your phone, you open up your browser, you'll put in the amyziongsa.com, and it will give you the landing screen.
Right.
In the upper right-hand corner on that landing screen, you're going to see the menu bars. There's 3 lines. You click on that. Wait a minute, let me come back out of this.
Oh, okay. I see. You know what you have to do? You have to hit those. You have to, up at the top, it shows English and there's a red arrow. Next to that is 3 lines. If you click on those 3 lines, it brings up your menu.
Exactly.
And then I see users, organization and everything. And so click on churches. Okay.
Yes. Click on that, and then you click on your churches.
Right.
I just on the phone, it's just a little bit different
Mhm.
because of the format on the phone. So let's go back. Now you can do this a couple of ways. You can enter all on the left-hand side of this screen, in church management, is all the church information. On the right-hand side of the screen would be the quarterly conference start and end dates. Now, when we met in, when did we meet? July, I think it was. We came up with a common dates for the quarters. Now that we have our quarterly conference dates set, you can enter them in this screen just by entering the dates as we just set them. And just make sure you hit save period update. Once you click on save period update, it will update all of the reports.
Okay.
You
On-
enter it
on our-
once, excuse me?
On our forms, it looks like they must have changed, updated these forms. Because you have April and the next box across is 1.
Mhm.
At the date supposedly. Okay, on ours, they have them at the bottom now. Underneath the month, they have the box for the date.
Oh, really? Okay. Make sure you hit save period.
You have to
Period
save it
setup.
after each quarter you put in?
Excuse me?
You have to save it after each quarter date you put in?
No, at the end. Once you fill out this portion of it,
can
You have
put
to
all the
save-
dates in and then push save.
and just push save, yes. Once you get all that saved, your quarterly conference dates are set. You don't have to touch them again unless the dates change. Then you go into the left side of the screen and you start, or at the left side of the screen if you're on a laptop, the top of the screen if you're on your phone, and fill in all the information. You have to have the church's address, the city, the state, zip code, the phone number, the charge, and the pastor in charge. Basically, it's the same information. Basically, it's the same information on the regular quarterly conference reports. Only thing different would be the address information. You hit save, and then you're finished with that.
So each section you have to save.
You have to save when you do the save period. When you do
Yeah.
this quarterly conference, you have to hit
Yeah.
the save button. When you update the church information, you make sure you have saved the changes. Whenever you see that blue button and it has save, make sure you hit it
Okay.
in order to save your information. So at that point, the church, the organization information is set. Now you have to start looking at your individual forms. If you're on the laptop, on the lower right-hand column, there's a whole section there for church forms. So some forms are specific to each church. Like you have class leaders, so they give you preloaded forms. That's for class leaders, local preachers, and traveling ministers, exhorters, and ministry/auxiliaries. It is in this section that you will add those specific forms. So if you have 10 class leaders, you would have to set up who the class leaders are.
I have a question.
Yes,
St. James Perth Amboy.
yes,
We entered the information for the leader of leaders.
yes.
We went to add the individual class leaders, but it
Mhm.
wouldn't allow us to do it.
The only ones that have authority to enter the individual class leaders, or if you have general access, that's the pastor and the quarterly conference secretary.
Yes, that would be me.
It has to be done up front.
When you say upfront,
When you do the organization management, that's all part of the organization management. If you see on the screen, this is the class leaders report. When you hit let me go back. In the section that says, click here to select the form, you click in that space and you're gonna have a choice of 4 forms.
Mhm.
Class leaders, local preacher or exhorter, minister or auxiliary. And those are the 4 forms that you can make specific to your church. If you look at When you do the drop down, you'll see it, you'll see class leader come up. Select the class leader. Under form type, you will enter that class leader's name. And in the form number, you will assign that class leader whatever their class number is. In this particular instance, James Robinson is the class leader for class 1. So we enter 1 in there, and then you hit add form type.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
you're welcome. And you would do that with all your class leaders. If you have a local preacher or traveling minister, same thing, drop down box, you select this the local preacher's form. Local preacher, in this case, it's the Reverend James Johns. There's no form number, so you leave that empty. And hit the button again, add and form type.
Mhm.
Same thing with exhorters and ministries and auxiliaries. Now, this one is the one that most churches would, when you do the setup, you'll have a lot of activity here because there's one general category for ministries and auxiliaries. So then this is where you will assign each ministry in your church a form. So in this example, the children's choir, you first select ministries and auxiliaries. It'll come down and you would enter children's choir, gospel choir, praise dance, the quilting ministry, if you have one. You would enter your ushers, you would enter whatever auxiliary you have in your church, other than the trustees, stewards. Yes, sir.
Add form type, is you gotta press that? I mean, is that how you get to those?
Okay, let me go. Oh, I forgot you
How
doing.
does add form type? What is that?
At the bottom of the screen, you click the form. It says select form. Which one do you want to do?
I'm trying to, I'm like, how to do,
The same screen that has the church setup and the quarterly conference dates at the bottom on the right-hand side.
right, I'm done, I'm saying, form type. So you just type in whatever, like if it's chicken club, just put it in there.
Now, which form are you
I'm trying
first
to
go
do,
into
I'm trying to do ministry, what is it? Ministries.
ministry and auxiliaries?
Yeah,
Yeah, if it's a chicken
don't have
club, just put chicken club in there.
okay. So that
And you
first,
add,
the first box, it says form to the left. There's nothing goes in there.
nothing goes in there, no.
Form type,
just under-
the name is where the name of the organization goes.
Exactly. The name of the organization, the name of the class leader, the name of the local preacher. That's what makes it specific to that particular ministry or that particular person.
And the form number, leave that alone if it doesn't apply.
It doesn't apply, that's right. Now, if you have, I know back in the day, you would have stewardess board number 1, 2, and 3.
Right,
If you still have that, you would enter whichever one they are. Usher board 1, 2, and 3, the same thing. That's when you would use. Whenever you have more than one of the same type of ministry, you would enter the form number. And you just add it.
Question.
Yes.
If you add, I added my class leaders,
Yes,
including myself. Now, I went to change and go to a different class, a different form, to like a different selection. And now I don't know how to get back to where the class leaders were.
go back and click on the class leaders.
And
Select
it'll
class
pull
leaders
up.
again. It
Oh,
should
okay.
pull them up. You
Okay,
got it?
yep, sure did. Now, if you make a mistake, would you just hit edit? And that would be what would,
That's it. You hit edit.
all right,
Mhm.
thank you.
Yep.
okay, now, if I typed in central treasury, so do I have to save it? Do I have to put, click the add form type or just?
Is that a ministry?
Yeah,
Okay. You click add form type.
okay, so it's there. Okay, I got it.
Mhm.
All right.
And you would do that for every ministry in your church. It's a one-time setup unless you add a ministry. You don't have to worry about deleting any of these. If you don't use it, it's not going to be reported. Okay. Now, once you've added your ministries in the new forms, you would go back to the left-hand corner, left-hand side in the drop-down menu under Amy Zion reporting. Click on dashboard. And once you click on dashboard, you will see at the bottom of, click on dashboard, you will see all of the reports. Now, when they first built the system, they actually built the system with 22 forms already in there. But if you notice under class leaders, we added James Robinson as a class leader. So when James Robinson gets his sign in, he'll be able to go to this form, he'll be able to see which form is his.
How did you get that? I'm sorry, where's the dashboard thing?
It's under Amy Zion reporting.
I'm reporting. I'm still on the, it's one of the icons there? Okay, I see. My page shifted over.
If you're on a laptop, you ever lose sight of
No, I'm on
the
I'm
menu,
on
there's a little arrow button, there's a little
I'm on
arrow there.
iPad. Okay, I got it.
You got it? Okay.
Rosalind,
Yes.
when you, now for the class leaders,
Mhm.
if individual class leaders are reporting, what does the leader of leaders report?
The leader of leaders report is the simplest thing. I'm gonna show you a leaders of leaders report. The reporting that you had to do in the past as leader of leaders no longer exists.
Okay,
This system does all of the computations for you. So the leader of leaders no longer has to run around and track down class leaders reports. They just have to make
Okay.
sure that they're entered into the system. And once they enter into the system, I'll show you where it's all is stored. But the leader of leaders report is not, it's just like I'm trying to think of the word. It's
does
not
it
involved at all.
summarize?
The leader
It's-
of leaders report was a
leader of leaders-
compilation.
No, the leader of leaders report that's in the system is just as basic information. The leader of leaders, the vice president of the leader of leaders, it has basic information in it.
It's just organizational.
It's organizational. That's it.
Okay.
I'll
Okay.
show it to you. I'll show it to you once we get to the live.
All right. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay. So all the ones that we've added before, you'll see it here. Once you go into dashboard. Okay.
All right, I
Now.
got lost a little bit.
Go ahead. Question?
Yeah, I've gotten myself lost. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Where are you lost?
I was trying to get back to the actual typing in the organizations, but when I go back over there, it's asking me to find the church. So when I go down, I found St. Thomas Amy Zion. Now, what do where am I hitting that so that I can get back to the reports?
Get back to, so you can,
Like where I was adding class leaders and stuff like that.
once you get back to St. Thomas, you should see an edit button there. Somewhere in there, there's an edit.
Okay, I got it. Yes, ma'am. All right.
Okay.
So here's my other question. When I was looking at that, so for the class leaders, how are we changing the names? Like I guess if the forms already show, like on the dashboard, it has all those forms, then we don't have to enter.
Yes, you do, because it's the class leader forms that's included with the system is generic. So each one of your class leaders must have their own form because they have to report on their own class.
Right, but I mean the other, like when you look on the dashboard, it showed all the different ministries and everything. Like it's showing orders, deaconess. So do I have to go in and do a deaconess?
No, you don't have to do anything with deaconess unless you have a deaconess board number 1 and 2.
Okay, all right, that's what I wanted to find out. So lay council,
Yeah.
all that stuff is already in there. So we only had to put the specifics for if it's 1, 2, 3, 4 or whatever.
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
perfect. All
Yep.
right, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
So you haven't gotten to assigning persons to these forms yet, right?
Not yet.
Okay, all right.
You said before you get to being able to assign people to the forms, you have to make sure the forms are there in order for you to assign them. So these are all the forms. You're in the process of creating all of these forms. So later on, you can actually assign them to people.
But you can always go back and create another form.
Oh, yes, you can go back and create another forms. You can go back and remove form. You could remove permission from people.
Yeah.
If they're no longer head of that ministry or responsible for filling out the form, you can remove access. Okay.
Gotcha.
Now, once you get all the forms, very important, once you get all the forms set up in the year box, it says enter year, make sure that always reads for now, 2022.
I'm sorry, what was that again?
On this screen, in the box at the top, upper left-hand corner, it
Mhm.
says year. That must read 2022. That is always the year that the end year for the current conference year. So this annual conference closes in May of 2022. So that year has to read 2022.
Okay, so how do you change it to the right for the individual reports?
Well, if you put in 2022,
All right,
two boxes over, it says change period.
yeah,
You click on the change period. Wait a minute. I don't have that screen. You click on your change period. And once you click on the change period, it may take a little while depending on how many forms you have. All the periods, all of them will change.
It did.
It did.
Okay.
And
Now
I
that is extremely important because
Yes.
if you have one hanging out there in 2021, especially if it's a major board, it is not going to go. It will be left behind when the pastor does their submit.
Mm.
So every time you go in, you got to make sure, because I had that problem and Terry called me on it. And I was like, no, it's in there. And she said, no, it's not. And then I went back and it was I had one in 2021 and one in 2022. So once I put 2022, I found the one, because I couldn't find the one I did, but I didn't change the year. So it's going to change every time you go in the system. So you got to make sure every time you go in.
You can't save it.
Yeah.
You can't save it.
The system defaults to 2021. It's unfortunate, but that's what it's defaulting to 2021 when you first go in.
So the few reports that St. James Perth Amboy completed and submitted, if it didn't read year 2022, they didn't go anywhere?
They're not going to be reported for this annual conference reporting period, because it's actually that you're actually reporting for last year, not this year.
Oh, 2020.
No, 2021. Remember, annual conference closed last year. Annual conference closed in 2021.
Yes, May 2021.
May 2021.
Yes.
So if you entered there, they want to report for the conference years that began in 2020, ended in 2021. If you entered 2021, they're going to assume that everything you entered was for the prior conference year,
Mm,
not the current.
got it.
Okay. So
Mhm.
that year is extremely important before anybody does anything in the system. Once you get to this point, that's the first thing you have to do. Change that date, hit change period, and make sure the date, the year changes under the period column.
I believe we did not change the date or the
Mhm.
period.
Ooh, okay.
So what happens for them now? They can.
Now I have to ask a question. Has the pastor submitted their report yet?
What we did was a test run,
Okay.
and the ones that were submitted, I entered. But like, for instance, we entered the trustee report, leader of leaders, ministry of kindness, steward board report,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't recall changing the date.
Now, as long as the pastor's report has not been submitted, you can go in there and edit it. You can go in there and change whatever's in there,
Okay,
okay? Because right now is at the user level, it's not frozen. It's when the pastor submits their report. At that point, you can't touch it.
okay,
Okay, so you still have time to go in and change all those reports, transfer them over to 2022, and you'll be okay.
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 Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, if you want to use it as a 2021 as a test run, you can, but just remember that it's not going anywhere.
Okay. Well, it probably didn't go anywhere.
Okay.
So, Sister Holly,
Yes.
so when the pastor submits their report, that is when a ticket has to be generated with the help desk?
No, when the pastor submits their report, that all the reports get sent over to the presiding elder at that point.
Okay, so, and I apologize for putting the cart before the horse. When is it needed for case of error, for a ticket to be generated with the help desk?
You would only submit a ticket if there's an error, if there's a problem in the system.
Okay, understood.
That's the only time you would submit a ticket.
Okay, thank
Okay?
you.
You're welcome. Now, like the screen said, I said before, there's 22 preloaded forms. Always make sure that you're in the right quarter and the right year. Once they've gotten to that point, they can click on the user, once they're assigned, can click on complete response, and it will open up the form that they're trying to complete, and they can just do their entry. Once a form has been completed, if you want to take a look at it, it will say review response. You will click on that, and you can go in there and view the report, the completed report, or you can print it. At that point, you'll be able to print it, you'll be able to print it. Now, the next, this little thing which says reporting, there's really nothing to be done here. You can take a look at it if you want to, but this is cumulative. And the only ministries that are in here are this is where the pastor statistical report is going to be will show up here. And what the system does this, for the pastors, this is wonderful. If everything's entered right, you do not have to do another statistical report. If everything is entered right, it just goes through all the reports, pulls out the information that it needs, and pops it right into the statistical report.
And
In this case,
that will only come up after all the reports are completed, right?
it comes up quarterly. You can create a statistical report for each quarter.
No, I'm saying that button, that note, find reports. That's not on our pages now.
Oh, you can, it's under reports. If you go back to, Amy Zion reporting. The next little tab would be report. You can actually go in there now, change the date to 2022 and click on any one of these. It's going to take a while. It's a slow process because it's going through and it's trying to find all the information it needs. And it'll bring you, if there's nothing there, it's going to bring back blanks in all fields. But these are the only ones today that do this would be the annual the passive statistical report, the WHOMS, and the Leader of Leaders report. And I think someone asked about the Leaders report. The actual Leaders report is generated here.
Yes, and I'm trying to take my name out of the area where I put it as class leader. Get rid of it.
Well, you
There's Hera. I hope she took a tumble. Yeah.
Okay.
Can she create a new one?
What she can do is, what you can do is, do you assign it to a specific class number?
No. I just put class leader and I put Cynthia Davis King and now I went and hit edit but it has a little line through the cancel where it doesn't let you cancel. Like it doesn't allow me to remove my name.
No, I don't think it will allow you to remove your name and never delete anything in this system. What you may want to do is just hold on to it. You're in there and just delete and just space out your name and put another class leader there with their class number.
Okay.
Okay.
But I already put all my class leaders in there.
Well, if you don't fill out that report, it's not going anywhere.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right, perfect.
So that's just reporting. There's absolutely nothing you do here. It's just a matter of you want to take a look at once all the reports are submitted. If you want to go in there and take a look at your statistical report by quarter, you can see it. If you want to take it at the end of the year, if you want to take a look at your statistical report by the annual statistical report, you can click on it and take a look at it. But like I said, the process is really slow.
Okay, how do I get back to adding different auxiliaries and?
You would go back to Amy Zion, AMEZ.org,
right?
churches.
Churches.
Click on First Church, edit.
First Church edit.
Scroll down to the bottom.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay, all right. Okay, all right.
Okay, and these are the rest of the reports that are generated from that screen.
Okay, all right. I'm with you so far.
Okay, now this can come in real handy if I can stop. Search responses. If you don't want to flip through all of the reports on the dashboard, you can go to search responses in this, and it will tell you which one of the reports have been completed. Once the report is completed, it will just show a yes or a no, whether it's completed or not. And again, you would have to put in the correct year.
So, Sister Terry,
Yes,
where that year is always going to be 2022.
always 2022.
Now that's just for this conference year, or is it
That's for this conference year.
this
When we
conference?
get,
year? Okay.
yes, when we get to next year, it's going to change to 2023.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. So it's always the year above the actual, I got it anyway. Okay, thanks.
Okay, you're welcome.
Your end date,
Yep, your end year.
in your date.
Yep. Now, this is just an example of what some of those forms look like. This is a ministry form. This is the top of it. Anytime you see an asterisk on a field, that's a required field. You will not be able to submit unless those fields are completed.
What are you on now?
This is just an example of an input for a ministry form.
Okay.
Once you're in a ministry, once you go into a ministry form, two buttons are going to show up after you have completed it. On the left side, there's going to be a blue button that says print. On the right side, it's going to have a red button that says delete response. Whenever you see delete response, please just ignore it. If you delete a report, you cannot get it back. It's gone. You no longer will have access to it. So never hit the delete response button.
You just go to edit.
Yes. If you make a mistake on a report on a field, if there's an edit button, if it's an edit next to that field, click on edit, and it will open up that particular field, make your changes, and once you're in edit mode, on the right-hand side, if you're on the laptop, on the right-hand side, you will see two buttons. One's blue, and the other one has a circle through it. Hit the blue button. It looks like a little tiny, looks like a little floppy disk. Click on that blue button, and that will save it. Okay. What else did I want to say? Oh, when you're entering a ministry form, at the bottom of the screen, there's a submit button. Nothing that you enter on the form will be saved unless you hit submit. So if you start the form and you realize you don't have all the information, you have two choices. You can back out of it if you want to, but if you go back, you can have to enter everything all over again. Or you can hit submit and then go back and in the edit mode, view response, and just fill in whatever information you need to fill in. Okay, someone asked about users. Yes. Now that all the church information, the organization is all set up, this is the time you can enter your users. Okay. You go into users, click on the users in the menu. It will drop down. Again, it says users. On the left-hand side, you're going to show you all the users that have been added. On the right-hand side, that's where you will start adding your users. You can put in your username. The username should be, in this example, it has the person's name, but the username should be the email address.
Right. Okay.
So every user, you have to have the email address for every user. And then you enter the first name, the last name, and then you enter their email address, their telephone number, and then you have to give each user a password. You determine what that password is going to be.
And they all have the same one? No?
They can, if you want them to have the same one. What we did at VARIC is we gave each user had their individual password.
Mm-hmm.
That way they're the only ones that could get into their forms other than the pastor and the quarterly conference secretary.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. In the bottom part of that field, this is where you assign your permissions. The church assignment is going to be there. It'll come up with the church's name. On the church level, you're gonna have three choices: quarterly conference secretary, which will give them access to everything, pastor, and the third choice is user. Okay. And when you click on user, on the forms, this is where you will assign each user to their individual form.
It has to
So
be
let's
the
say class.
It has to be the form name that's in that list.
Exactly. When you get to this particular field, if you start typing class leader, it will bring up all the class leader forms that are there, and you just select the one that you want to assign to this particular person.
Okay.
And then you save permission. So when you do that, when you assign them to all the forms that only they have access to, when they go to sign in, those are the only forms they'll be able to see. The trustee, if the person's not a trustee, you don't sign them the trustee form, they won't be able to see what's on the trustee form.
So everyone who's doing a form, you got to set them up as a user.
Exactly. Unless you have one person that's going to be entering all these forms. And that has to be decided at the local church level.
Yeah,
Mhm.
my best guess is that what will happen in most instances is that people will continue to, organizations members who aren't computer savvy will continue to fill out the form on paper and submit it to someone to enter it into the computer for them.
Right.
So
Yes.
that may be the job of the quarterly conference secretary or assistant secretary of the quarterly conference to collect the forms as usual, because people will do them as they're used to doing them on the paper. And somebody has to actually input them into this system for them.
Right.
Okay.
I can see that.
Yes. And in that case, if you can have as many people as you want, have permission, the quarterly conference secretary permission. So if you have more than one person that's going to be handling these forms, you can give them quarterly conference secretary permission level, but keep in mind they will also have access to all of the user level information, including church organization.
Mhm.
Or you can set them up as a user and give them permission for every form out there. You can do it one of two ways.
I have another question. I'm sorry. Where did you say that you could put like class leader and it would pull up the names of all of them?
Well, in the user permissions,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to assign a specific person to a class,
Mm-hmm.
you would start typing in the form permissions field. That's just basically a drop down field. It doesn't have a little arrow there because there's so much information in the background. But if you start typing in class leaders, it's going to show you in the user permissions field, the form permission field.
I don't know where that's at.
Oh, you're on your phone. Under are you on the user screen?
User screen, yes.
On your phone, hold on, let me get there. User.
Church user.
Scroll down to the bottom
Mm-hmm.
on the phone, and
Right.
you'll see add user.
Yes.
That's where you'll enter all this information. You
Right.
enter their username, which is their email address,
Right.
first
But,
and last name, and at the bottom of that it says Amy Zion permission levels.
mm-hmm. Right. I see that. I just thought that you said there was a place where you would put class leader and it would pull up all their names automatically. So you have to put the information in first, then you can pull it up there. Is that what you meant? I got lost.
Yes, hold on.
So class leaders number, okay.
Now, I'm doing, if you go into the field that says form permissions and start typing class leader.
Form permissions.
It's the last field.
Church assignments?
No. It says form permissions. On the Amy Zion permission level, it says user church assignments, church level, form permissions.
Form permissions only, yeah, okay.
What page are you on?
On the user, the user page.
Add plus add user.
Yeah.
Amy
Click
Zion-
on to users.
Click on
You're
that.
you're looking at add user.
Yeah.
Scroll down.
Scroll down, then it says AMEZ permission levels.
Yes, and then line by line, it's going to say church user,
Church user,
church assignment. If you
right?
tap on that, it should come up with, who am I speaking to?
Cynthia,
Hi, Cindy. If you tap on that, you should come up with St. Thomas.
right?
You can do church level, tap on that, and you will come up with user permission user.
Right.
Just below that, you should see another field that says form permissions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that.
You don't see that?
No.
Do you have to scroll down?
Church user, church assignments, church user level.
And
Oh,
underneath it,
oh. I had
there
to
you go.
get out of where I was. All right.
Now, if you tap on that field, and it should bring up
yes,
all of the
okay.
reports you have there.
Yes, okay.
So you can assign, it'll give you a chance to tap on whichever one you want that person to have permission to enter.
Okay, I had to hit the button done to get out of the one level down to the next one, I guess.
Okay.
I got it now. Very good. Thank you.
Got it.
Sorry.
You're welcome.
Question for you, Terry.
Yes.
So if you haven't put anything in there, is that where you can put that in there as well?
What do you mean? I don't
It says
understand.
form permissions. When you go to form permissions,
Yes.
are you able now to add something in there?
No, you're just selecting what's already been set up.
Okay.
That's why it's important to set up the forms first. Because at this point, you're going to be assigning permissions. You're going to be assigning the permission to each user.
Okay.
Terry,
Yes.
if, you go and you have, the conference secretary has, overall permission and you assign, let's say your chairman of a particular board is sick, not able to, do anything. Someone else cannot go in unless they know that person's email and password, cannot go in and do their report. Is that correct?
If you're set up as the quarterly conference secretary, you can enter anything you want in the system.
Okay, so that if that person is not able, then the quarterly conference secretary or whoever has additional permissions would be able to enter that without having to know the username and password for that person.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Now, in that case, you can assign the head of the ministry and the vice president, or the head of the ministry and the secretary. You can assign more than one person to have access to a report.
Okay, that's good, because
You can assign.
we're gonna have that issue.
Yeah, you can assign that access to anybody.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, long as they know that there's more than one person that has access to the report.
Okay, now if you assign that access to two people, and there is it still their individual access?
Each one you would have, if that's the case, you would have to set up two different users.
Okay, for the
Each one
same
would have
report.
For the same report. Each
Okay.
user would have their own password.
Correct. Okay,
and
thank you.
username. You're
Yeah,
welcome.
because in some cases you'll need a backup
Exactly.
for
You
the
do.
folks. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Now, let's say you have a user that is you don't want them to have, no longer wants them to have access to the system. You can actually suspend that user. And that's in the upper, the green bars. The first line, it says the account is approved.
Mhm.
Second one says that this account is active. Now, if you want to suspend them, you can click the suspend account and it will knock them right out of the system.
Mhm.
Okay. See, and this is an example of what you will see when they have been suspended. Now, if they come back and you want to give them access again, you just click active account, approve account, and then you'll have to assign a new password, give them a new password. Okay, now everything is done. All the reports are in. The pastor or the quarterly conference secretary has checked every single report out there. Now, pastors, it's time for you to start doing your report. Now, some of the fields on your report may already be populated because some of the information may come in from other reports. So, and the report, it basically looks the same as the paper report. So you would fill out your report, make sure all the dates are right. And one thing, wait a minute. Yeah. And you have to make sure that everything is absolutely perfect according to your liking. Because once you hit this little submit button down the bottom, it's done. It goes to the presiding elder. And any type of editing at that point will be under his control. And I'm not sure how do you do it from that point.
Where are you finding this form?
This is one of the 22 forms that are already in there. This is actually the pastor's quarterly form. It's one of the 22 forms that are in there.
Should be actually the last form that will be completed.
That's right. This has to be the last form completed.
Mm.
Actually, you can't complete their report until all the other reports are in.
That's right.
Wow.
Okay.
Now, there's no way for the presiding elder, like if something's wrong, that he can reject it so that it goes back to you?
That I don't know.
That
Okay.
I will find out after you submit it, and I will look at it and see what options I have.
Okay.
I haven't gone into the system under the presiding elder's form yet. So you can look at it.
Okay, so had,
I'm trying to get my pastor's responsibility done, and then I'll look at the presiding elder's responsibility.
Oh, that's right.
Okay. Yes, someone had a question?
I did. St. James, Perth Amboy. I am still lost right here where you pulled up this form.
This is one of the forms in the dashboard. Are you online?
Yes, I am. I got online.
Go back up to the dashboard.
Okay,
Click on Amy's Iron Reporting, go into the dashboard and
Mhm.
scroll down. The forms are in alphabetical order.
okay.
So when you
Oh,
get
I
down,
see it.
see
Okay,
it?
yes, thank you.
You're welcome. And like I said, that has to be the last form that's going to be completed.
And again, as soon as you go to that form, go to the year and change the year to 2022.
Yes.
Yes.
Changed again, back to 2021.
Yep.
It's a glitch I think he's trying to fix now in the system.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
it stays
Especially if we're paying for it.
That's right. So once it passes, that's it. Passes, submitted the report. Reverend Hyman, you asked if you had to submit a ticket. If anywhere, if you run into a problem anywhere in the system, if you can do a screen print, you would hit on, you can do a, if you can do a screen print and submit, you can submit a ticket. And this is where you actually would submit a ticket. They want to know
understood.
what, okay?
Yes, thank you.
But this would only be for if there's a problem with the system itself.
Okay.
And you just send a report. Now, to get out of it, just like it's good practice, make sure you sign out. The button in the middle is your sign out button, the little arrow thing to the right. That's your sign out. Click on that button and it's going to ask you, are you sure you want to go? And it will tell you, you just said, click yes, and now bring you right back out of the system. Now, those were all of the slides. Now, do you want to see the actual system in
Sure.
real time?
Real time.
Okay. Give me it. No. Hold on. Okay, there it is. Does everybody see that?
Mm-hmm.
So let me start this over. You enter AMEZ until I've been in here a lot. Amy Zion, GSA.com. You click on reporting portal. New quarterly conference reporting. Now this is Varick, okay? And these are all the users that we have. So if I go into the dashboard, you will see these are the report, at the top of the screen, these are all the reports that have already been completed. The bottom of this screen will show you all of the reports that are available. You can see this says 2020, 21. I'm gonna change it to 2022. If you notice, everything changed. First quarter, 2022. Okay, hold on. Oh yeah, okay, this is a test one that I have. This is a basic ministry screen. You would enter, even though the ministry may be up here, you would enter the ministry name. This is the month, day, and year that the ministry was affected. Yeah, just like you would do on the paper report. The president and the vice president are required fields. You can enter all the rest of them. You could also list all of the members of that ministry if you choose. If you choose not to, if you need more than 4, just hit add a row, and it will just continue to add continue to add rows. There's no limit on the number of rows you can add. They're asking for the number of adults, number of children, and number of youth that are members of each ministry. As you can see, there are asterisks on those fields. They are required fields. So you have to enter something there.
Have none, put zero.
Excuse me?
I'm saying if you have none, you put zero.
That's right. If you have nothing, it puts zero. And the total membership field, that's cumulative. Don't worry about it. It's going to, if you hover over it, you see the little red circle with the arrow, with the line through it. You can't enter it. Now, under financials, again, these are required fields. One suggestion, the beginning balance, this is the first quarter, you can only enter that once. If you enter the wrong amount in that beginning balance, there's no way to edit it. So I just want you to keep that in mind. If you're working from a general fund and all the reporting, all the financial reporting goes through the steward board or the trustee board, you can enter zeros in here if they're doing all the reporting. But keep in mind, this beginning balance, you enter it once and it stays. You can't change it. And you also have to enter activities. If you have no activities, you have to enter something. NA, none, something, just something has to go in that field. And of course, in order to save everything you've entered, you just hit the little submit button at the bottom and it will bring you back. Let me go back to the dash. It will bring you back to the dashboard and you'll be able to see the report there. The difference between that and one that always had or has already been completed, it would change to view response versus complete response. Now, is any report that you would like to see?
Class leader.
Any class leader report?
Right, because I still don't see where to enter each class leader's name.
The class leader's name has to be entered at the organization level. You can't enter it from, you really don't enter it from here. Because if you notice here, we have 6 classes. Class 1 is Patricia Kane, but that was entered at the organization level when we set up the forms, the form types.
Okay.
Good evening, Rosalind. Can you go back to show us how you actually set up that form?
Sure.
Quickly, thank you.
AMEZ, org, churches. And down here, I just clicked on the select form and I'm gonna choose class leader. And if I wanted to add a class leader.
Okay, now I don't see that on my screen.
Are you on the laptop?
Yes, desktop.
You're on the desktop.
Mhm.
Did you see, or what do you see on your screen?
I see the church name, Elder District Conference, Episcopal District. That's under Find Churches. And then the next line reads search results. And it reads St. James, Perth Amboy, Elder District. It has that information, State, New Jersey City, Perth Amboy, and then an edit button.
Now, do you have quarterly conference secretary?
Yes.
Do you see AMEZ in your menu?
Mm-hmm.
Click on that,
Right, and then I clicked on churches.
click on that, you click on churches.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go over to the right-hand side
Mm-hmm.
where it says St. James Perth Amboy. You should see a blue button that says edit.
Yes.
Click on that.
Ah, okay.
Got it?
Got it.
Now on the form, on the right-hand side at the bottom, select form. We're talking about class leaders. That'll be the first one. These are all the class leaders that we have. So it's at this point, you want to set up a form type, and this is where you would add your class leaders. You will actually assign your class leaders to the class leader form. So don't get any ideas, Reverend Dr. Miller, okay? I'm adding myself to a class, giving myself a class number.
Gotta be careful because it's not gonna let you remove it.
That's okay. It'll just never get filled in because I'm not a class leader.
So you're putting the name in the space of form type, you're putting the name of the class leader?
As class leader, yes.
And the form, it's a form type, and you put the person's name.
You put the person's name.
In the form type. And now
And what happens is the person's name gets amended, gets attached to class leaders. So when you go back to the dashboard, you'll see class leader, the class leader reports, and then you'll see one report for each one of the class leaders that you set up.
I got it.
You got it?
I got it now.
So I just did an add. Let's go back to AMEZ reporting, dashboard. Sometimes the system can be really slow. And here I am. That's the one I just added. Okay.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any other reports do you want to see?
I'm good.
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 Someone had asked about the Leader of Leaders report. Let me just open that up. This is the Leaders of Leaders report. There's basically nothing there. It's just administrative, but it still needs to be completed.
Thank you. I was one of those.
Okay.
Your claims team is here for you 24/7. Well, things to do.
Gary, can you kind of show them the trustee report? Because there's some hidden areas they have to go in to put information.
Yes, trustees and steward reports. Please be very careful filling those out because you do not want to duplicate the amounts. Because there is information. Let me show you the steward report first. I'm in 2021. So on the steward report, you have to enter the chairperson, vice chair, and the secretary required fields. You can't enter the rest. You would enter your tithes amount, your offering. And even though Dr. Miller, you remember what the hidden field is?
You're thinking of Ministry of Kindness?
Yes.
Once Paula did hers, it showed up on Gail's. I didn't have to put it in. Once Paula did her Ministry of Kindness report, it showed up in this report.
Okay, so the only thing that's actually required would be, that always just throws me because the fields that are generated by the system are usually restricted. These two fields are not restricted. And I think it's because different churches do things differently. So for Ministry of Kindness, if you're doing a Ministry of Kindness report, this should be, you shouldn't enter anything in this field because they're not required. Same thing with the trustee board report. If you're sending money to the trust, if you get money from the trustees, it goes here.
That's another one. Once
gonna
Kim
populate.
did it, it went, yeah, it'll automatic populate. It'll come
Thank you.
over to this form from the trustee report.
Okay, thank you very much. And they say the rest of this information is information only. Your online contribution, if you want to enter it, you can, but you must enter the amounts that you received at quarterly for a general conference, the annual conference askings, and the amounts received from ministries towards the presiding elders asking, and Episcopal district asking. All those are required fields. Basically, looking at this, it's basically the same as the paper report. Dr. Miller, do you know where were those hidden fields?
On the trustee report. It's
It was on the trustee report
that has all that hidden stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Again, beginning balance, be careful. You cannot change it. Once you enter it, it's done. So let me swing over to the trustee report. Ooh, you deleted the report? Okay.
When you say you cannot change it, isn't that when possibly you can send a ticket?
Yeah, you would have to send a ticket. And the only one that can change it, from my understanding, would be in Sattler's office.
Well, yeah, he would verify with the pastor that's something that needs to be changed in that form.
Yeah.
I remember him saying that.
I panicked, Terry, after I duplicated it and was in the wrong year, so I took it out.
Yes, and now we don't have access to it ever again.
But it's all right in 2022. You could do the 2022 one.
Okay. This is the 2022. These are all about numbers. Now, which are the hidden fields?
So see, you won't see it on, and I'm sorry that I did that, because you can't really see it on here, because some of these fields, all of these lines aren't there. You have to add them. So you got to go into edit in order to see, to add, to put in some of the figures. So for example, putting in our different property, you have to go in and edit and then add all the different properties you have. So if you have other than your parsonage, well, your parsonage might be in one. And when you're doing insurance, if you have more than one property that's insured, you're going to have to go in, and the way the field looks on the regular form, it is, it's just a space, and then you got to click on it to see what the information you need. So I'm just saying, be aware that you need to click on every field to make sure that you're putting in all the information, like insurance, answering the questions related to insurance, putting down all your properties, where they're located. And you need, this is like a detail, super detail. You got to know the name, numbers of the book, what page, all of these things. So all of these lines you see, at some point you have to edit and add as you're doing more. So the initial thing is to edit, and then you got to add. And some of them come up straight. Some of them you got to get in there and edit and add, or it'll say, after you go back to check on it, you may not see it at all, but you got to look for the little fine blueprint blue lettering, and it'll say one line or something, and you got to click on that to find out what it is. Otherwise, it's not going to show till you click on that. Right now, it's showing everything on here, so I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
But I know when I
Well,
went in to work on it, it was, and probably because this is submitted, I don't know.
yeah, because
But-
it was submitted. Now, what I'm showing here is actually, this is second quarter. We submitted our
Okay.
first quarter, so this is
Okay.
second quarter.
Oh, yeah, so it's populated already. That's
It's
great.
populated already.
Yeah, that's good.
So with the assets, one of them would be other assets, and you would have to click add a row in order to add the properties.
Right. And are there anywhere it has blue letters and then it'll say one line or one item? Do you see that on there? See, this one is all stretched out. When I was in there, they weren't stretched out like this. It would be like condensed, and then it'll say one item or two. So I'm just saying, look for that little blue lettering that'll say one item or something. Like that. But I don't see it on here. All of these are stretched out, so it doesn't look like what I saw when I went in to edit her report, to review her report.
Okay.
Yeah.
And since it's already been submitted, we can't really look at it. And the second quarter, it carries over from the first.
Mhm.
Excuse me, I
Yes.
have to log off. What time is the meeting on Saturday, and is it the same Zoom information? Who's doing the meeting on Saturday?
Yes,
the
it's
training?
Saturday at 10, and it's the same Zoom. It is 10, right? Same
Yes.
Zoom information, and that's for anyone that's making out a report. So it is
Yeah.
the same Zoom information.
That would just be for ministries.
Right.
Ministry, yeah. So on Saturday, I will not be going over any church organization set up.
It'll just be with the people that are good, like the trustee, like if our
Or
preacher
ministry.
steward, she would need to be on, and different people like that.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you so much. It was an excellent training. I really am glad that I signed in here tonight. So have a good night, everybody.
Okay, have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. This, just so that you know, it's probably going to be ongoing throughout the year, because I'm sure people are going to
Yes,
continued assistance, tutorial assistance.
by all means.
I get as many people as we can up to speed on this so that they can be available for members to call across the district, across the conference, really. Because I welcome those who are on the who are with us from the Canton District, and certainly you spread the word to people to join us Saturday.
Yes. All right,
Perfect.
thank you.
Okay. Now, any other reports that you may want to see?
I think we're on overload right now.
It's a lot.
Well, in my thinking, I'm going to have some of my people play around with it in the 2021 era.
Yes,
So
that's the best
not
thing.
submitted, and I can go back over it and look at it and work with it, and then go back and try to perfect 2022. So they'll be used to working with the document, with the system. So thank you, Sister Terry. That was
You're very welcome.
very helpful.